doctors enter the profession with socially derived misconceptions about who people are and what they are. And the curriculum that they experience in medical school doesn't undo those misconceptions. In fact, there was
This nationally recognized researcher and professor at North Carolina A&T State University says medical students are not learning what they should in school, and it is likely costing some patients their lives. Physicians have a lot to deal with, but Professor Joseph Graves says the fix he is proposing would make their job of saving lives easier.
Tonight in the Buckley Report, we see the simple point Graves says his research shows that he believes should be a part of every medical class in every country.
In a place where the intricacies of science are discovered,
epigenetic changes are those that are non-nucleotide based.
an uncommonly smart person is advocating for general common sense.
These are really sort of common sense things.
Joe Graves is the professor and researcher at North Carolina A&T State University who says we've been looking at the prevalence of disease all wrong.
What's driving the disease disparities we see in the United States are more people's social experiences than their genetics.
Give me an example of that.
For example, it's sort of well established that people who have post-traumatic stress syndrome, that is actually being driven by traumatic events that result in those epigenetic changes in the modulation of genes operating in their brain. And so it's not that their DNA changed, but the expression of their DNA changed because of those post-traumatic events.
Professor Graves has put it all in a very readable book called Why Black People Die Sooner, What Medicine Gets Wrong About Race, and How to Fix It. Did this idea come from your own life?
There were definitely portions of my life that motivated me to write this book.
Like relatives?
Relatives who died well before their time.
And stories of others, including the 8-year-old African-American kid who had cystic fibrosis, a disease much more common in Northern European populations.
But she wasn't diagnosed with the disease until a radiologist looked at her x-ray but had not seen the child's face. And the doctor said, well, who's this kid with cystic fibrosis? Normally, kids are diagnosed with cystic fibrosis within their first year of life.
They were already nearly 90% behind on the child's treatment, and Graves' book documents how common that is.
I talk about how medical algorithms have been misused because of making false assumptions about the association of particular traits with particular groups of people.
And although Graves' book is about science, he says we can really reduce those socially generated gene expressions with our public policy.
Giving people meaningful work, giving people a decent wage, giving people good places to live, people having access to healthy food. These are things that every American should want for every other American.
Because science shows those are the stressors that, as his book says, change the way our genes express themselves. Bob Buckley, Fox 8 News.
Again, Graves' new book is called Why Black People Die Sooner, What Medicine Gets Wrong About Race, and How to Fix It. Comes out next month.